This is part 2 of this little series of videos that I thought about making. Just thought about it, an idea off the top of my head. I often think of games that don't exist. Games that I would like to play. Games that I wish did exist. Ideas and IPs and things that companies could do, realistically. They could do it right now, even. They just don't. Haven't. Or won't. Who knows the reason why, but they have the ability to do so, and I kind of really wished they existed, and I just thought of sharing a couple of those ideas, not make a huge, long series of it, just an idea I think of off the top of my head. I may make a video talking about it. And here's the second idea that I had off the top of my head. I came up with this last night while playing through Lego Hobbit. And during Lego Hobbit, you get to explore the Witch King's tomb, which is located in Rhudaur, which is one of the three fallen kingdoms of Arnor. Arnor used to be a united kingdom. It's the line of Elros, and when they came to Middle-earth after the fall of Numenor, they believe two brothers, one went to the north kingdom and one went to the southern kingdom, Isildur's heirs, and Isildur's direct line died in the south, but Gondor the kingdom survived, whereas Isildur's line survived to the north, but Arnor the kingdom fell. There were three children of one of the kings of Arnor, and they couldn't decide on who to become king, so they all became king. They split Arnor into three: Arthedain, Cardolan, and Rhudaur. And then the Witch King of Angmar came in from the north and started to wipe them out one by one. First to fall was Rhudaur, the second to fall was Cardolan, and Arthedain. Both royal bloodlines died out in both of these kingdoms. Arthedain was the last one to fall, but the royal bloodline of Arthedain survived. The youngest child, the youngest prince of the king of Arthedain survived, and it is that prince's bloodline that we get Aragorn from. So that's the brief history of the fall of Arnor, and I get fascinated by this story. I think it's one of the most interesting potentials that you can make many, many, many stories out of. You can make a trilogy of movies out of this idea, and this story, this timeline, is told in the appendices of the Lord of the Rings books. So you have the timeline, you have the story, you could adapt this. They just haven't. I don't know why. Now they're doing The Hunt for Gollum. They're making a movie for The Hunt for Gollum, I guess. Why not? Whatever. They did The War of the Rohirrim. Fine. Angmar is still a good idea. In my opinion, I think it's a very good idea. It's an untapped potential for a trilogy for the fall of Arnor, the Three Kingdoms. It's a great idea. It's a fantastic potential. But that's not here or there for technically why I would make this video game idea. This idea is more based off the potential of exploring Arnor. We don't really get to do that much in the War in the North, the PS3, the Xbox 360 video game, Lord of the Rings: War in the North. That's about the War in the North during the events of Lord of the Rings. You play as a bunch of B-tier heroes who go on an adventure. It's a very fun story. It's a little bit short. I wish it was longer, but it's very fun. I wish you could explore more of the North, but you don't. You just explore tiny portions of it, which is, I'm happy to take what I can get. I'll take what I can get. In one of the stories in War of the North, you can explore the city of Fornost, at least part of it. The city of Fornost is part of Arnor, and it was one of the bigger cities, and it has fallen into control of orcs and all sorts of other beasties of the darkness, and you play as a small ragtag team of characters that go in and fight off the orcs and survive Fornost, essentially. And I got to thinking while I was playing through Lego The Hobbit the other day, when I explored the Witch King's tomb, and I thought, what if we made a game where you can explore Arnor, all of it? And I came up with the name Middle-earth Dunedain, where you play as a Dunedain, not necessarily a big important chieftain or some big guy. Maybe you're just a middle management Dunedain. You're a scout, and you're asked by your chieftain to just be a Dunedain And the Dunedain are rangers of the north. They explore, they scout the area, they keep the supply lines to Bree safe from orcs. They keep the supply lines to the Shire safe from orcs. They protect the Shire from the orcs so that everybody in the Shire, the hobbits, can live in peace and security. The elves and the Dunedain both protect this land. And I thought, why not explore just how that happens? How the Dunedain operate in the north. I'd probably set this story timeline-wise right before the events of The Hobbit. And you play as this middle management Dunedain. You get maybe 2 or 3 little hub worlds. The first one being Bree, where you get to explore Bree. You could explore a couple Dunedain camps scattered throughout the Arnor. And you can go to Rivendell later on in the game. Maybe at the halfway point or something, you get to go to Rivendell, and that'll become your second main hub world to get missions from. And let's say it's just various small-time stuff. Like when you're playing Red Dead Redemption, you go into, I think it's called Blackwater City, or is it Blackrock? It's just the first town that you get to go to. I forget the name of it. And there's a sheriff there, and there are a bunch of other NPCs there. You can go into the saloon, you can go and talk to people, go into the inn, rest at the inn. And you just learn about a bunch of outlaws. You can see wanted posters on the walls, and you go tear off a wanted poster, and you go out and you play bounty hunter. You go out, find the outlaw, capture them, bring them back dead or alive for a bounty. Or you can go out, capture some brigands, and just go out and do stuff. You go out and live in the Wild West like you would Red Dead Redemption. I thought to myself, what if you did that, but you're a Dunedain in Arnor? That would be a pretty good untapped potential, wouldn't it? You have a big open world, 3 big regions of Cardolan, Arthedain, and Rhudaur. They're all in ruins. Arnor has fallen. You get to explore this region. You get to explore a lot of ruined cities, and see the fallen majesty of the Númenóreans of Arnor. It would be pretty good untapped potential, especially something that we've never really fully explored in full detail. And we explored Fornost. I would definitely like to see a return to Fornost, to explore parts of that place, and maybe fight through those places, kind of like dungeon crawling. That would be pretty fun. And I just thought about that, you just go out and you get a couple missions from Bree, from Rivendell, from the chieftain, or the stand-in chieftain, because Aragorn could be in Rivendell, or he's down in Gondor at the time, so he's not really leading. So you would have a interim chieftain while he's out and about doing something else somewhere else. And yeah, I thought that would be a pretty good idea, to just play as a Dunedain. You're just going out there, range in the north, and just living it. And you get to explore all of Arnor in its fallen majesty, and get to see the scars of the Angmar Wars, the ruins of the Witch King's castle in Angmar. Maybe that would be pretty fun, wouldn't it? I think so. And let's see, if you really want a story, like, let's say you're the Dunedain scout that finds that there's stirrings to the north. You go into the Barrow Downs, and you see the Witch King's tomb, and you see that the 9 are stirring. And you go, maybe you fight one of them. You survive, you drive them off, and then you go back to your chieftain, or you go back to Rivendell and tell Elrond that the 9 are stirring. The dead are stirring in the north. That'd be pretty ominous, wouldn't it? It would spark Elrond to call the White Council together, right? He'd call the White Council together, and conveniently, roughly around the same time, he goes out, stops some orc band, and finds Gandalf and the dwarves, and he guides them back to Rivendell roughly around the same time. That's when Saruman and Galadriel come in, because he's called them over. And yeah, that'd be pretty, I think that would fit within the timeline pretty fine. I think that would fit in the timeline pretty well. Just playing as some middle management Dunedain. You're not the guy that saves the world, you're just the guy that tells the story about the world that's gonna start getting into some big trouble later on. You're just out there ranging the north. I think that would be a pretty fun idea. At least I think so. I would play that game. I want to play that game. That's why I thought about it.